This video we're going to take a look at a couple of different pedals, but they are very close in what their intentions are. So here on the left I've got both of them Pedal PCB circuits. This is the acrylic circuit by Pedal PCB. It's there to be a clone of a Wampler Plexi Drive, not the deluxe, but just that original Wampler Plexi Drive. This one on the right is the Van Pelt circuit, and it's meant to be a clone of the JHS Charlie Brown V4. And so just real quick, Plexi Drive, obviously Marshall Plexi. The Charlie Brown is meant more towards Marshall JTM45. And so just reading on the interwebs, we've got a little bit brighter tone with the Plexi Drive, and then a little more full tone with the JTM45. And the components on the inside would lead to those kind of intentions, to where this Plexi Drive is using JFET J201, which will give you a very tube-like saturation, a little bit brighter. And then this Charlie Brown is using MOSFET, to where it's got a BS170 transistors in it. So these are going to be a little bit warmer. So I've got both pedals set up at unity. You can notice on the volume, the Plexi Drive is a little low on the volume, to where the Charlie Brown is a little bit higher on the volume. And then this Plexi Drive also has a bass boost, which really it's just changing a cap in there, but it really boosts that lower frequency, so you get a definite perceived increase in decibels with this guy. So this pedal's a little bit louder. A little bit more headroom as far as the volume that you have available. I've noticed that this Charlie Brown sounds a little bit more squished, definitely a more full, but at the same time squished as far as compressed just a little bit more. It kind of feels like the clamps are put on it a little bit more, but we'll get into both of that. My bass rig, I'm using a Harmony Jupiter guitar. They have their own gold foil humbuckers in there. They're really low output, like 7.5, things like that. Going into my two notes, we got a Cabin Plus, and for this one I've got dialed up 6L6 power tubes, really clean preamp, and then the speakers, the IR is the Vibro, and it's got two Celestion V30s in there. But here's my bass tone. Here's the Plexi Drive engaged. Here's the Charlie Brown. I promise I tuned up, but it sounds like there's a little bit of oscillation going on from the tuning. Again, bass tone. Here's the Plexi Drive at unity, close to unity. Charlie Brown. Next one, we'll go with that one, Plexi Drive. Here's with the Charlie Brown. Next part of that, we've got just that little strumming stuff. Here's Plexi Drive. Charlie Brown. All right, as far as usable tones go, now we're going to do a little deep dive in between these, seeing if we can't get these sounding as premier as they can. So we're going to be working with the Plexi Drive first. Okay, couple differences. This does have a bass boost switch, like I mentioned, more full. This has a single tone knob, to where the JTM 45 clone has your 3-band EQ, bass, mid, and treble, so where you can really dial stuff in. But let's go with the Plexi Drive first. Again, bass tone. See the drive variation that we have. We'll go down to, was that 9 o'clock? Definitely reduces the dB. Just real kind of thin sounding to me there. Not even at unity, so these drive and volume knobs are definitely linked up. Here's noon again. You can hear that little whine behind there. I've got the gate on my 2 notes, so I'm not sure if that's coming from the 2 notes or from the actual pedal inside. This Charlie Brown does have an op amp in with it, to where this is just straight. It's got 3 biased J201 transistors in there, which are they're not the cleanest of things, but they are just rock and roll type stuff. Here's the, well, we weren't done with that one, sorry. Sounds like just a ripping Plexi Drive. Okay, that sounds all right. Maybe a good lead tone. Here's that bass boost switch. So just really. Now that I'm looking at my meter up here, that fizz up at the top, it's just clipping like crazy in GarageBand. So that's why it's probably not a good representation of the maximum gain that you could get out of this, but still, you can see that if I play lighter, it's not fizzing out, but yeah, it's just clipping through that signal. So sorry about that. Maybe I should have compressed it a little bit more. Let me flip on my compressor real quick, see if that helps it out. Changing the wave a little bit. We'll leave it on for comparison's sake. So bass boost. Just changing that cap, that tone cap, to where it really kind of. Yeah, so if I was playing rhythm guitar, just some rhythm rock, definitely I would have that bass boost engage. Adds a whole lot of thickness to it. To me, that sounds like a genuine tube amp right there. Doing lead tones, I'd probably turn that bass switch off just so it would cut through a little bit more. But that's the Plexi Drive. I think that's dialed in. I'm primarily a rhythm player, not a lead player, so I would probably kind of go with those settings. If I was going for that higher gain stuff. Onto the Charlie Brown. I know this video is getting kind of long, but we'll see how it goes. Again, we're at unity here. See, to me that just sounds a little bit more clamped down. Let's go ahead and go down, see what the volume sounds like, or the low gain type setting. Scoop it first, like a Fender style amp. That's not too bad right there. Just as far as an overall bass tone, if you wanted that kind of, definitely not the crank JTM 45. Not talking like Clapton and Blues Breakers or things like that, but just a good bass tone. All this is on my neck pickup. Switch over to the treble pickup. Let's see, increasing the drive. Yeah, it just seems to be compressing a whole lot more. Wish I could play like Clapton, then I could give you some of that John Mayall stuff. That's probably where I would live there. I realize that's more. That sounds pretty good. Let's kind of go opposite of that. Do your typical Marshall tone. I say typical. That's a bad or hasty generalization there. We'll do a little mid bump in it. Get that feedback protection again. So. Yeah, if you kind of really good example here. Let's see. Nice open tone, and then to me it just sounds a little bit more compressed, a little more clamped. That's a good. Boost involved. You really have to push this Charlie Brown. I mean, it sounds great. Breaking up almost like distortion there. Some fuzz type stuff. Now it's starting to clip like the Plexi Drive is. Just lopping off the top of it and just making it sound like a fizz mess. Well, let's do, even though it's going to clip out, let's get crazy with this one. Here we go, volume up. You're getting a lot more noise. Yep. I would never go into that territory. That's where I would live with that one, I think. Man, if I could just get a little bit more. It seemed to respond a little bit better when it was scooped. don't know. Depending on what type of player you are, you might have your preference between the two. Definitely no shade on what Josh Scott's doing, but I mean that's a great sounding pedal. For me though, I would probably go with that one, just more of the type of player that I am. I need that bass in the bottom so that my picking doesn't sound so bad. But this is probably the one that I would go with for my rig. Matter of fact, I do have it on my rig currently, but that changes about every week, so I can stack this pedal with something else. This one probably sounds great stacked as well, but I think I love that bass boost switch enough to say that one would be better for my application. Both great pedals, very clean builds, a relatively low noise for the high gain amp that is trying to emulate. But yep, that's what we got. So this is the Wampler Plexi Drive clone called the Acrylic Pedal PCB. This is the Charlie Brown clone from Pedal PCB. All right.